So let's talk about Pearl's commands and training tools so that you can stay consistent at home. The first thing we're going to talk about is the heel. Heel is on your left side. Her shoulder should be about aligned with your left leg on a nice loose leash. About 80 to 90% of your walks are going to be in this position. The other 10 to 20% of the time, she can still be on a loose leash, but she can sniff, explore, go potty, as long as she's not pulling you on that leash. So this is the prong collar. This is the collar that I've been using with her in her training. So to open this up, you simply grab one prong with your right hand, grab the other prong with your left, and pull down. It doesn't take a lot of pressure, it's just about the leverage that you use. To put this on Pearl, you put it right up behind her ears, under her chin. It should be nice and high. So you pinch this side and slot it into the next prong. It's going to be a little stiff at first, and it'll take some practice to get it smooth. The leash attaches to this top ring here. So when she's in a heel, if Pearl gets ahead of you, you're going to say no, give her a pop on the leash, and tell her heel again. So it'll be no, pop, heel. And that should bring her right back into position. The next training tool is this electronic collar. To turn this on, you tap these. There's a red button on the collar, there's a red button on the remote, and you tap the red buttons together until you see a green light on the collar itself. This light will flash green every few seconds to let you know it's on, charged, and ready to go. To turn on the remote, there's an L button on the back of the remote. You simply press and hold that until you see the blue screen light up. To correct with this collar, you're going to use the black S button. You don't want to use the red one at this time, just the black S button. So if she's in the heel, she gets ahead, no, tap the S button, heel. It's no, tap, heel. On your first few walks at least, bring treats. I have been working with Pearl a lot on taking treats with a soft mouth. You're going to have to continue working with her on this. But when she is in the right position, you want to reward her with treats, petting, or praise. Never allow her to bite your hand while you're giving her a treat. Wait until she is touching your hand with either her nose or her lips and tongue only, and then give her the treat. Don't give it to her if she has teeth on you. With sit, we don't use the stay command with any of our commands. We use an implied stay, which means that if you put her into a sit, she's to remain in that sit until you release her with a free or with another command. For example, with door manners, you walk up to the door, Pearl sits at the door, you remind her sit, then you open the door and tell her free to go through ahead of you or heel to go through with you. This is a short duration stay. You don't want to make it for long durations. If you tell her to sit and she doesn't, you're just going to tell her no, pop on the leash, and tell her sit again. Down is a longer duration stay. For down, if you tell her down and she doesn't go into the down, you're going to pop low into the side rather than up like we did for the heel and sit. So if you tell her down and she doesn't go, it's no, pop down to the side, down. Always return to her to reward her and to release her from that down. If you release from a distance, you're going to weaken the duration of that down stay. If you always go back to her to reward and release, you're going to strengthen that. So you should never release from a distance. Place is similar. Place is a boundary stay. So she can sit, lay down, get up, turn around, as long as her paws stay within that boundary. Always return to her to reward. Reward on the bed. All the treats should come from the bed because that should be the most rewarding thing. And always go back to her to release. If she gets off the bed when you don't want her to, and if you're at a distance, You're going to tell her no, tap the button, place. If you need to help her get back on there, go back and fix her with the leash. But you can correct from a distance with the remote collar. And again, always return to her to free, just like with the down. With come when called, you always want to have a leash on to practice because that's a safety measure for both you and her. So you're going to call her in a very clear voice that she can hear. You say, Pearl, come. Praise her as she runs to you. Have her sit and then reward her. It's very important that you always reward for come when called because you want it to always be a positive thing because you want her to always come back to you. If she chooses not to come back to you, you're going to tell her no, tap the button on the e-collar, come. So you call her, she doesn't come, no, tap, come. And even if you had to correct her, still reward this command because all the corrections happened out there, all the good stuff happens when she's next to you. With leave it can be a correction in itself. You don't have to say no, you can say no. But if you tell her to leave something, food that fell on the floor, socks, shoes, whatever it is that she wants to grab, you tell her leave it. If she doesn't, just tap the button, leave it. You can say no. Again, you don't have to. She can wear this e-collar all day, every day. It can go on in the morning when she gets up and can come off in the evening when she goes to bed. If you're going to be out of the house for more than 4 hours, you can take it off her at that time. But if you're just leaving the house quickly, you don't need to take it off her. The prong collar can be worn only when she has a leash on. We don't want this getting caught on anything. So only have the prong collar on when she is attached to a leash. Alright, so next you're going to take a look at some of Pearl's commands.
Pearl, come. Good girl. Sit. Pearl, come.
Sit. Whoops. Sit. Yep. Down. Girl, put down. Good girl. Down. Free. Good girl. Let's talk about the remote collar in more detail. I already showed you how to turn the collar and remote on and what the black S button is for. To turn the collar off is very similar. You simply tap the two red dots together until you see a red light on the collar. To turn off the remote, it's the same L button. You press and hold until it says off. I'm just going to turn this back on. So this collar should flash green when it's charged. When it's at about half charge, it'll start flashing orange. When it's almost dead, it will flash red. At that point, you want to charge it. It should last about 2 days on a charge, maybe longer, maybe less, depending on how often you use it. On the remote, we talked about the black S button. That's your regular correction button. The red S button is a boost button. So this will boost her level from 15 up to 20. So if, say you call her and she doesn't come, you'll tell her no, tap the black button, tell her come again. If she still doesn't respond, if she's running towards the road or in a dangerous situation, you'll tell her no again, tap the red button at that time and call her again. That boosts the level enough that it gets her attention in a more distracting environment. This T button on the opposite side from the S buttons vibrates the collar. We don't use the vibrate for any commands. We use it mostly just to check if the collar is on. So on the back side, this L button also has a second function. If you tap it once, you get a flashing light. If you tap it again, you get a solid light. And if you tap it a third time, the light goes off. On the top, you have your dial here. It is locked in at 15 right now. To unlock this, you simply press and hold until the 1D starts flashing. And then you can dial it up and down by turning this dial. You only need to change it if either she starts reacting too much to the 15 level or she starts ignoring it altogether. If you notice that her reactions are a little strong at 15, you can turn it down. If you notice that she is completely ignoring it at that level, you can turn it up. But she is doing well at 15 right now, so I'm going to leave it right there. Inside your box, you have a few other things. There's the strap that came with it. I like the bungee collar because you don't have to adjust it every time. You simply buckle it on and it's good to go. You also have your charger. This has 2 ports so that you can plug both in at the same time. Your charger port is on the back of your remote. There's this little rubber flap that you can lift up and plug it in there. Keep that closed unless it's charging so it doesn't get dirt and debris in there. Same thing with the collar. There's a rubber flap that lifts up on the back, and just keep that closed when you're not using it. You shouldn't need these. These are extended prongs. Pearl's fur is nice and short, so you don't need the extended prongs to get through her fur. If you ever did need to change her prongs, this is the tool that you would use for that. On the bottom here, you have the manual. So if you want to go more in depth about the different buttons and what they do, you can read your manual, but you shouldn't need more functions than I just went over. So if you have any additional questions, feel free to let us know. As always, have fun, stay consistent, and get in contact with us if you need any extra information.